In this demonstration, I'm going to work on this cat's ears. And as you can see, I don't know actually if you can see, but I've masked out the little white hairs. I've masked out some details. So that will keep little hairs light. The next step that I'm going to take is to just take some clear water. I'm going to get my brush full of some clear water. And I'm going to pat my brush on the paper towel just a little bit to get the excess water out. I don't want a big wet pool here. I want it moist so everything stays soft, and I'm going to carefully just moisten the paper where I'm going to be working. Okay, so I just get a little bit of clear water on there just to get it moist. Alright, and then the next thing is to take a brush, a finer brush that you can get better details. I'm going to use this square brush, but you can use a brush with a point on it. Alright, and I'm going to get some burnt sienna on my brush. I'm going to get it pretty cream consistency, so pretty thick, because I'm just going to work in the edges of his ear. And see how that spreads out nicely and softly and gives you a nice realistic look, which is what you want if you're painting your pet or someone else's pet. Portraits, typically you don't want to get as crazy as you might with a landscape, because usually the person you're painting the animal for, they want it to look like their pet. So you're a little bit more conservative with your techniques when you're painting a commission or for someone else. Unless you know they want something a little bit more daring. But the risk you run is that the painting won't look like their cat and then they won't like it. So I always paint a little bit more conservative. I'm going to get some black on my brush now, because just having one flat color never looks good. You always want to have a few different colors, and this cat does have some black in here and up in here. Another secret to more professional looking paintings, of course, I've talked a lot to you about softness and keeping things soft, but another thing that you can do to make your paintings look more professional is to use more than one color. Because if you look at any picture closely, a real picture, you're going to see that there's lots of variation in the subtle colors in anything. So you want to use that to your advantage when you're painting, and always be adding some different colors. I'm just going to continue to float in my colors. As it dries, it's going to get lighter, so you want to remember that. You always want to paint it a little bit heavier. I'm going to get my favorite little fur brush. This brush, if you can't find it, I have a link to it on my supply list. If you need my supply list, just email me or message me or whatever, wherever you're watching this video. You can get a hold of me and I can send you the link to my supply list. And then you'll be able to get this exact brush. And this brush saves me so much. I don't know if you can see it, but it has little bristles of the brush hairs that extend beyond the main brush, and you can get some really nice fur details with it. So I really use this brush a lot, especially when I'm painting animals with fur. It's also great for landscapes, for grass and that kind of thing. It works well for that. So there's a lot of different things you can do with it. So I really like it. I'm going to get some burnt sienna now on my brush and combine it a bit with some ultramarine blue, I think, and just get a little bit of a cooler brown, just like I said, just to add some interest. And also there's some pretty good dark areas in the fur of this cat. So I'm going to mix that together, a nice cream consistency, and drop it in here. The cat's ear is pretty dark right here. Okay. And you just keep working it until you're happy with how it looks. Sometimes that never happens, and that's okay. That means you're learning. When you first start painting out, especially, you want to have a lot of paintings come out bad. That means you were experimenting and you were learning what works. I'm reading Nita Eggel's book right now, and it's just amazing, some of her techniques and how experimental she is and how she's not afraid to try new things. And you know, she wastes a lot of paper, I'm sure, but it's really paid off. She has some amazing techniques, so it's really fun to read through her book and see how creative she is with all the different things you can do with paint. I highly recommend it. It's I think I've got a link to it on one of my blogs. But if not, you know, you can get it off Amazon. Nita Engel is E-N-G-L-E. I'm going to turn off my camera now because when these videos get too long, then it's impossible to upload them. So we'll come back at the next step.